Yes, everybody, welcome back to Talking Wolves. Welcome back to another match preview on the channel. Hope you guys are keeping well. We're back at Molineux tomorrow afternoon as Wolves host Chelsea in the Premier League. It has been 2 defeats on the bounce for Wolves. Here's hoping that we can try and find that form that we had at the start of 2026. But it is a tough test against Chelsea, who have started to hit a little bit of form under Liam Rosenior. But we'll talk about that later on in the video. We have the opposition perspective, as always. The latest from Rob Edwards' pre-match press conference. And quite interesting team news, I suppose, as well, with the closure of the transfer window, but some players still looking to move on. Before we start off, though, guys, I just wanted to point you in the direction of this Jamaica Hurricane Relief. This is a donation wish list and drop-off info. So if you're in and around Molineux tomorrow, you do have some time beforehand, or maybe you can make some time just to pop across before the game. On the Cannock Road, probably a sort of 15-ish minute walk from the stadium. At the petrol station there, they are doing a collection. So you can see on the screen some of the items that they are looking for. But if you do have the time to help out, they'll be there between 12 and 2:30 tomorrow afternoon. And obviously that would go a long way. So yeah, all the information that you need is on that graphic attached on the screen there. But yes, Wolves hosting Chelsea tomorrow. He's hoping to have a little bit of a hangover after their Carabao Cup defeat during the week. They lost out on aggregate to Arsenal. It was 1-0 on the night as well. But this is the start of a really busy run of fixtures for Wolves. I think it's Chelsea Saturday. We play Forest midweek, Grimsby next weekend. We then have Arsenal midweek before another Premier League game the weekend after. So plenty of games at Molineux as well. But, well, I say plenty of games. We've already had last week's game, but we are back there middle of next week as well. But, yeah, tough run of fixtures. And obviously rotation is probably going to be needed. But we're going to be losing, more than likely, another 2 members of the matchday squad. Emmanuel Agbadou, it has just been confirmed as I clicked record on this video that he has now officially left the club and gone to Besiktas. Probably one of the worst kept secrets in football this January, to be honest. But Wolves did finally agree a figure for him over the last day or two, which I've spoken about on a couple of videos. And Jean Arias, very likely to be going to Palmeiras in Brazil. Rob Edwards confirmed both of those as well. I think if anything wasn't imminent today, normally managers and head coaches are really sort of vague about transfers, but, we confirmed both of those are happening, which makes me think, obviously, Agbadou's left now, so he won't be in the squad anyway. Possibly Jean Arias is going to be missing tomorrow as well. Of course, we have introduced Adam Armstrong and Angel Gomez into the first team ranks as well. Jean-Rick Bellegarde now should be closer to returning to more minutes as well. We saw him at the back end of last weekend's game against Bournemouth, and Rob Edwards has also confirmed that Totti Gomez isn't yet ready to be reintroduced into first team training. So few players there. Of course, we saw a youngster Abbey on the bench last weekend as well. We may well see more of those involved. I'm not so sure. Players like Enzo Gonzalez didn't end up going out on loan. There's still maybe some interest in Brazil, but maybe we see his name pop up on the bench at some point as well. But the starting lineup for me tomorrow is going to be very interesting. I asked it on my Twitter earlier on in regards to, do people think Armstrong or Angel Gomez will start? And it was sort of mixed responses, really. It's quite difficult to say who will start and who won't start. Rob may chuck the new guys in. I think in terms of fitness and sharpness, Adam Armstrong is probably slightly ahead of Angel Gomez. But there's both players have every right to start tomorrow possibly. But with it being a tougher test against Chelsea, I think you possibly put Adam Armstrong in. Let me show you my team. I maybe expect my team, or maybe the team I would like, being realistic at the same time as well. I flagged it up on the screen. Jose Sarr in goal. Krejci is back now and hopefully will be available. Of course, he missed out last week with an illness and Agbadou took his place. Hugo Bueno there with... I'll go Rodrigo on the right-hand side as well because he got the nod, which was a pleasant surprise last weekend, alongside Mosquera and Santi Bueno to make up the rest of the back 5. I have gone with Mane as a holding midfielder along with João Gomez, and I think Andre will be in there as well. And the front 2 of Adam Armstrong and Tolu Arokadare. However, I can easily see a world where we just see Krejci come in and he still keeps Hwang and still keeps João Gomez and Andre in there for a little bit more steel alongside Mane. Or he might go with Mane, João Gomez and Angel Gomez. that there are a lot of choices there for Rob Edwards to make. I would be surprised to see him chuck both first teamers straight into the squad. But who knows? These players are there to hopefully make a difference. I don't think Angel Gomez would join Wolves to sit on the bench and be a squad or impact player. He'll want to be getting lots of minutes and starting football matches. So I suppose we'll wait and see. But as always, it was great to catch up with Charlie to get the opposition perspective ahead of tomorrow's game. He gives his thoughts on Chelsea so far and what he's expecting ahead of the trip to Molineux. So then, guys, it's great to welcome Charlie back on to give us a Chelsea perspective ahead of their trip to Molineux this weekend. Charlie, thanks for jumping on, mate. How you been keeping?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Obviously disappointed to go out the Carabao Cup Tuesday night, but yeah, not too bad. To be honest, we're still in those Champions League spaces, so yeah, that's kind of the aim right now. So yeah, not too bad, all things considered.
Yeah, good. Now we'll come on to that Carabao Cup game in a second, but similarly to Wolves, you've had management changes this year, especially since the last time we met as well. It's been all changed for you guys. Still pushing at the top end of the table, but what did you make of that whole Maresca situation, and then obviously the appointment of Liam Rossigna?
Yeah, it had been brewing for a while, to be honest. The Maresca thing, it was clear that he wasn't happy with a number of things going on behind the scenes in terms of interference from above.
Yeah,
Now only he's going to know the extent of that. I think we get an idea of kind of what might have been happening, and for someone to effectively walk away from the Chelsea job at this stage of his managerial career, I do kind of respect him a bit for that. The fact that
yeah,
he stood by his principles and was like, look, I'm an inexperienced manager. This is the biggest job of my career to date. And I'm leaving. I'm leaving. Look, the results weren't amazing, but we were in a decent enough position, all things considered. So I'm disappointed that he went. It's always, I think he'd done well. He'd won 2 trophies, got us back in the Champions League. And yes, football at times wasn't great, and the results certainly towards the end weren't the best. But yeah, that had been brewing for a while. In terms of the Rossigna appointment, I think it was the obvious one, wasn't it? We all we seem to do is just think people from Strasbourg, whether it's managers, players, whatever it is. Like there was no one else on the shortlist. It was him. That was who they were going to get. Look, he's it was underwhelming. I'll be honest, very
yeah,
underwhelming. Someone that had Hull and Derby on his CV and 18 months at Strasbourg, getting the Chelsea job is kind of like, yeah, I'm not too sure about that.
yeah.
But in fairness, mate, he's come in and he's won 6 of his first 8 games. The only 2 games we lost were both legs of the semi-final, which you could argue, well, they're almost the 2 biggest games, and he's not been able to get the results in them. But in terms of the Premier League, we've won all those games. We advanced in the FA Cup. And all things considered, it's not been a bad start at all. He speaks very well. He's very honest. And I know managers speaking well, you don't get points or results for that, but it
Yeah.
is refreshing to have an honesty from a manager, and he doesn't try and gaslight you into into making something out to be what it's not. He is honest. He's upfront about things, and that's refreshing. But ultimately, he's going to be judged by what he does on the pitch. And so far, in fairness to him, it's been a decent start.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at Strasbourg managers, maybe Gary O'Neill's going to be the next Chelsea manager.
Mate,
Who knows?
I'll tell you, mate, it can't be ruled out. It can't be ruled out. Obviously, not every Strasbourg manager will be a Chelsea manager, but there's a reason these guys get picked and put in the system, because I think part of the reason they take that job at Strasbourg is because they know there's maybe half a chance of getting a Chelsea job.
Yeah, no, you're probably right. In terms of the January window, it was a quiet one for Chelsea, wasn't it? I mean, what were your thoughts on that? Do you think there needed to be players to be moved on, or areas addressed, or are you fairly happy with where the squad is at the moment?
So in terms of the players that moved on, obviously Axel Disasi went on loan to West Ham. We needed to move him on. I think we're getting just shy of £2 million loan fee.
Yeah,
Ideally, we would want to get rid of him permanently, but at least he's out. You've recouped some money, and I suppose we're not going to be paying all of his wages for the second half of the season. I guess that's a positive. Sterling has gone now, but
yeah,
we had to come to an agreement to terminate his deal. So I don't know if we're paying him off the final 18 months, or we're just going to pay him off a year, or the whole thing's waived. I don't know the details of the breakdown of that, but we essentially paid him 300 odd grand a week for 6 months to do nothing,
yeah,
which is obviously a massive waste of money. But he's gone now, so I suppose that's a positive. And then Tyreek George, the young lad, went out on loan to Everton with an option to buy. He needs to go and play football, fine. In terms of incomings, though, mate, majorly disappointing,
yeah,
because we need to bring a centre back in. We are linked strongly with Jeremy Jacquet. That would have been a deal for the summer anyway. But when you brief in the media, this guy's your primary target. You spend pretty much the entire window trying to get a deal done, and then he chooses to go to Liverpool instead. The optics of that are really quite poor. Mamadou Sarr comes back. I don't have an issue with that. That's kind of the one that makes sense. Rosinha knows him. Spent 18 months with him at Strasbourg. He's a decent defender. He's done well there. He was very good for Senegal at the AFCON, played well in the final against Morocco. But bringing in another 20-year-old centre-back is a bit underwhelming in terms of, you look at our defensive issues and you think, well, all right, he's got quality and he's good, but it's one thing being good for Strasbourg. It's another thing coming in and trying to fix a backline that needs fixing at Chelsea in the Premier League. So I would say underwhelming, mate, which has kind of been the theme of the last few windows.
Yeah, I mean, and from the players that are there at the moment, who has been standing out for you? Because I think, you having several players get on the score sheet or get goal contributions, but then you're getting players out with injuries and so on. Cole Palmer, for argument's sake, the likes of he's coming back into the frame, but some really talented young players getting opportunities and scoring goals as well. Who's been standing out for you in recent weeks?
João Pedro's been very good. Really, since Rosinha came in, João Pedro's form has massively picked up, and he's scoring goals, he's contributing, his hold-up play is good, his linking play well, he's finishing, he's assisting. He's been really, really good since Rosinha came in. Other players, Enzo Fernandez has been brilliant these last few weeks as well. He's been really good. But outside of that, mate, there's not been an awful lot in terms of contributing. Obviously, Caicedo is always solid and puts in decent performances, but in terms of players who are grabbing the attention, as I said, it's really João Pedro and Enzo Fernandez, and then the rest of them aren't really doing too much at the moment.
And then goals for the end of the season, between now and the end of the season, what you want in from the competitions? Obviously out the Carabao Cup now, and I'm hoping that maybe there's a little bit of a hangover going into Saturday, but who knows? It could be the opposite, where Chelsea is sort of up for it and wanting, to prove how good they really are. But what are your aims between now and the end of the campaign?
Mate, we have to qualify for the Champions League. It's that simple. And it's a real shame to be speaking about Chelsea and talking about, we must qualify for the Champions League, when that was normally just a given for most years. But that's kind of where we are right now. So Champions League football qualification, absolutely vital for that. Look, the Champions League itself, we're still in there. Obviously, we've finished in the top 8. We've advanced to the knockout rounds. Let's see what we can do in that. I don't think any Chelsea fans are expecting a win, but if you get a kind draw, you can maybe get a bit further than you might have expected, and kind of who knows. But FA Cup is something I think we need to be taking seriously, because that's our only realistic hope now of silverware. And so, we can try and get as far in that as possible and finish in the top 4, top 5 for the Champions League. Those are the aims now. That's kind of all we've got left to play for, really.
Yeah, no, I'm hoping that despite our poor season, the FA Cup's one that we can try and push in on. But I suppose we'll wait and see. And your thoughts on Wolves? Again, not expecting you to have seen us every single week, but you know the situation that we're in, at the foot of the table. Any thoughts on what's been going on at Molineux this season?
Mate, I'll be honest, I'm surprised that you've been as poor as you have been. Look, I didn't have Wolves as sort of in my mind to go down necessarily, but I thought you'd be sort of there or thereabouts in the mix, in that maybe sort of 14th to 17th. You might drop into it if something goes really wrong, but to have been as bad as you have been, to have 8 points, in February, that was a lot worse. And I'm sure yourselves expected, and I'm sure many people expected. It's just not been good enough at the end of the day. You've got issues with the ownership. I don't know the full ins and outs of that, but clearly fans are not happy with that. You've got some big money for the likes of Strand Larsen and other players. The recruitment, obviously, the players that have left have not been replaced by players who are on an equal quality or better at all. So the team's been downgraded. Yes, you've got money in, but the team's got worse. And I think it's a shame, to be honest, because Wolves have been a team that have actually done pretty well in the Premier League in recent years. Europe under Nuno, always a sort of a solid Premier League side. And I think it's a shame what's been going on there. But I mean, you'll probably know better than me. Maybe it's been coming. Maybe Wolves fans have felt something like this was coming for a couple of seasons now. But I'm surprised at how bad it's been.
It probably has been coming. I think the neglect of the squad and things like that, which internally at the club, as fans, we've made them aware of that and had meetings with them about that. So he's hoping that, I know it's a shame that it's come to this, and we're more than likely going to be in the Championship next season, but we hope this situation doesn't happen again. We can bounce back and see what we can do. Is there a chance that we may have a Pedro Neto reunion this weekend, or I saw he was injured? Do you think he'll be out for this game?
Oh, no, mate, he'll play. Like
Wait,
this thing that him and Reece James were in, they weren't injured. Like,
yeah.
I'm not buying that for one moment. They were rested for a cup semi-final, which in itself is a disgrace in my opinion. But yeah, no, Pedro Neto will play this weekend. Especially considering Garnacho's been in poor form, Esteval's been away on compassionate leave, and we haven't got Jamie Gittins. I mean, not that really makes much difference at the moment because he's not really contributed much, but in terms of an option and a number, he's not there. So yeah, I'd fully expect Neto to play. Reece James will come back in and play as well. We won't go with the same setup against Arsenal. I think we'll go with our usual sort of 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3, whatever way you want to look at it. And yeah, I think we'll come and we'll obviously have a go and we'll play our stuff and see what we can do.
What are you thinking? Score prediction?
Look, I think we shouldn't be worried about this game. Obviously, you've got to treat it with respect just because, Wolves aren't doing well. If you turn up to a game and you think you've won before it's kicked off, you're going to have big problems. I think we're going to have to be patient. I think, you'll look to frustrate us. You'll look to maybe sit deep, make things difficult for us, maybe have the onus on us to try and break you down, look to maybe get some joy on transitions, joy from set pieces potentially. I would expect us to have too much quality and I would expect us to win. If we play anywhere near what we're capable of doing, it should be a fairly straightforward afternoon, but we all know football don't really work like that. I think for me, probably a 2 or 3-1 Chelsea win. I think we will concede, but I think we've got more than enough quality and we should create more than enough chances to get 2 or 3 ourselves.
Yeah, you're making the trip up to Molineux. I know you normally come.
Mate, always. Do you know, I do quite enjoy going, mate. I don't mind it, and it might be the last one for a while. So yeah, no, I'll be there, mate. Nice 3 p.m. kickoff on a Saturday. It's been a while since we've had one of them, but yeah, I'll be there, and we'll and hopefully we'll be celebrating a win and 3 points for the journey home.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a rarity Saturday 3 p.m. We have had a couple against Chelsea. I can't remember last season, but I know Nunez scored an absolute beauty the one year, a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I remember he smashed one in. We lost 1-0.
And then the only other one I can remember was under Lampard, and he absolutely smashed us. I think that was
that was when Tammy Abraham scored a hat trick in that game.
I think Tomori scored an absolute belter as well.
And then there was that one, and then that was that. I think there was the same. This might have been a Sunday afternoon, but Frank Lampard's first game back when he took over from Potter as interim, and I think we lost that game to you 1-0. Oh, and we were so bad. It could have even been more. It might have been 2-0 or something, but we lost 1 or 2-0, and we were awful in that game. So you have beaten us a few times at Molineux.
Christmas Eve as well was the one. I love that one.
Oh, mate, don't talk about a Christmas Eve. Chelsea gave us these stupid little blue Chelsea Christmas hats to wear.
Yeah.
And we were so bad. And that was the one where Sterling didn't square it.
That was at 0-0 as well, wasn't it? Wow. Yeah.
I think we lost.
Yeah, but the chance was at 0-0.
Oh, sorry, yeah, that point it was 0. Yeah, mate, that's probably one of the worst football experiences I've ever had.
Yeah, I can't believe that he did that, but yeah, no, some cracking games anyway. But and obviously the cup game earlier this season, which went your way in the end. So no, safe trip up, mate. And where can people find you and your content if they wish?
Yeah, so you can check me out at Blue Brother CFC. I've done a video, obviously, with Dave talking again, getting a Wolves perspective, so feel free to check that one out. And you can also find me over on Chelsea Fan TV as well. We'll be doing stuff after the game, so if you want to hear Chelsea fans' thoughts on it, if you want to see some moaning if we don't get a result, then head over there as well.
No, brilliant, mate. I'll make sure I leave a link to those in the description. And yeah, all the best for the rest of the season, mate. And I'm sure we'll catch up soon.
No, nice one, mate. Cheers.
So big thanks to Charlie once again. I'll make sure I leave a link to him and his channel in the description down below. And guys, let me know your thoughts, your starting lineup predictions and your score predictions in the comment section down below. Going to be a tough game. I'll probably snap your arm off for a point. We just got to try and get something on the board, I think. Take a little bit of momentum into a tough run of fixtures as well. And hopefully we can do that with a positive result this weekend. As always, guys, though, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Enjoy your weekend. Fingers crossed we've got a smile on our face come 5 p.m. tomorrow. And I'll see you all very, very soon.